It's finished. Not for 4 years, not for a while, for good. Cristiano Ronaldo has just played his final World Cup match, and the ending said everything about how this campaign fell apart. 91 minutes into a cagey, anxious clash with Spain, two little-used substitutes tore Portugal open. Mick Marino steered the game's only goal past Diego Costa. In that instant, the most decorated forward the sport has ever produced was eliminated from the one tournament that always eluded him, and now always will. Full time, Spain 1, Portugal 0. Here's the detail that should hit hardest. In the last World Cup appearance of his life, Cristiano Ronaldo touched the ball 19 times. 19. So let's break down what really happened. Because this wasn't just a farewell, it's a lesson in what goes wrong when no one has the nerve to tell a legend the truth. Start with the match itself, because the symbolism was almost too neat. This was a border rivalry clash between two neighboring nations sharing half a league and a similar footballing identity. For 90 minutes, neither team could break the deadlock. Ronaldo's lone real chance came in the 37th minute, a loose ball that Spain's keeper Unai Simon batted away. That was essentially his entire night. The match seemed headed for extra time until Spain produced the one thing Portugal had run out of, a fresh spark from the bench. Ferran Torres entered, slipped a pass to fellow sub Mourinho, and Marino buried it first time into the corner. Spain's fifth shutout in 5 matches. Portugal's tournament, and Ronaldo's World Cup career, over in a heartbeat. The side with energy and reserve beat the side stuck in the past. If there's one snapshot that captures Portugal's whole tournament, that's it. Credit where it's due. Portugal defended superbly for long stretches. Left-back Nuno Mendes locked down Spain's teenage phenom Lamine Yamal for nearly an hour. For a good while, this genuinely looked like a game Portugal could steal, or at least drag to penalties. That's the cruelest part. The defense was heroic. It was the attack that had rotted. And the moment Mendes went down with an injury, that fragile equilibrium collapsed, and Spain's bench depth finished the job. To understand why this stings, you need to understand the one prize that's haunted Ronaldo's entire career. The World Cup is the trophy he never claimed. Think about that. A man who has swept up everything club football offers, titles in 3 separate leagues, 5 Champions League crowns, a shelf full of individual honors, and across 5 World Cups, the sport's ultimate prize kept slipping away. His high-water mark came back in 2006, when a 21-year-old Ronaldo was a rising talent on a Portugal side that reached the semifinals. He was a supporting player then, and he never got that near again. 2018 ended in the round of 16. 2022 in Qatar ended with him walking off in tears after a quarter-final defeat to Morocco, having been benched for that very game, seemingly done at the highest level. Everyone assumed that was a final chapter. Instead, Martinez gave him one more tournament and essentially unlimited playing time to change the story. That do-over produced the bleakest version yet. His World Cup legacy closes incomplete, permanently a notch below his lifelong rival Lionel Messi, who holds the one trophy Ronaldo would have given almost anything to own. Now, let's say the thing everyone could see, which only one man wouldn't accept. Ronaldo was past his prime for this tournament. Not in some disrespectful sense. Simply, statistically, no longer capable of carrying a team on his back. Those 19 touches weren't an accident. 12 came in the first half, the lowest first-half touch count of any World Cup match in his career, and he never touched the ball again after the 80th minute. Across the tournament, he averaged 7 shots and 3 duels per 90 minutes. Compare that to his prime years, 2010, 2014, 2018. When those figures sat at 9 shots and 5 duels. He contested 4 aerial duels in his opening 2 matches, then none across his final 3. The physical presence, the burst, the menace inside the box, gone. The numbers didn't hint at it. They shouted it. And here's the almost absurd twist. There was a moment mid-tournament when the internet convinced itself he was back. After a lifeless, statuesque opener where he barely moved and got torn apart online, Ronaldo responded with a brace in a lopsided win. Instantly, his back, the king reigns on, doubt him and pay the price. One small catch, it came against Uzbekistan. No disrespect to Uzbekistan, But that defense wouldn't have stopped my grandmother on an off day. Because the moment he faced a team that had actually earned its place in the knockouts, the goals disappeared. Against genuine opposition, 4 matches, he scored exactly once, a penalty versus Croatia. Portugal, fielding the most prolific international scorer in history as their focal point, managed only 2 goals total across his 351 minutes on the field. 2. That's not a striker anymore. That's a statue you parade the team past on the way out the door. So who actually deserves the blame? Because it isn't really Ronaldo. And this is the part that matters most. The responsibility falls on Roberto Martinez, the manager who constructed an entire World Cup strategy around safeguarding a 41-year-old starting spot. He had a proven alternative sitting on his own bench in Goncalo Ramos, a striker who has rescued Portugal before, who scored the 90th minute winner against Croatia in this very tournament after being subbed on, and who once scored a hat-trick at the 2022 World Cup the moment Ronaldo was dropped. The template for benching Ronaldo and still winning already existed. Martinez had used it himself, and he wouldn't use it again. His stated reasoning, repeated to anyone within earshot, was that you simply can't sit Cristiano Ronaldo. Former striker Troy Deeney put it bluntly on air. The real issue is that Ronaldo makes it nearly impossible to leave him out. That's the entire tragedy in a single line. No one had the courage to say no to him. It swallowed the whole squad. Every match became the same drama. Would Martinez actually bench him? And if so, how would Ronaldo respond? Deeney zeroed in on it directly, pointing to the reactions Ronaldo showed whenever he was substituted, and summed up the bind precisely. Portugal were trapped either way, benching him or not. A squad that should have been focused on tactics and opponents instead spent the summer managing one man's emotions. That is not a formula for winning a World Cup. That's a team slowly losing its identity while insisting everything's fine. And the indulgence carried real, measurable costs, not just impressions. Because Portugal shaped their entire approach around a player who could no longer deliver. They couldn't beat anyone genuinely good, and it cost them the group. A flat draw against Congo DR. Another match Martinez defended his Ronaldo selection after, meant Portugal finished in the wrong spot and drew Spain, one of the tournament's favorites, in the round of 16 rather than a gentler path. Read that twice. Keeping the aging star on the field didn't just fail to help. It handed Portugal a tougher route and then got them eliminated on it. The entire campaign turned into a shrine to one-man send-off, and the football paid for it at every turn. Martinez didn't fail Portugal because he cared about Ronaldo. He failed Portugal because he cared too much to actually coach him. That said, give the man his due, because he's earned every bit of it. This is a 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, a 5-time Champions League champion, a man who gave his country 23 years and, in his own words, delivered 3 trophies to a Portugal that had won nothing before he arrived. He carried the nation to the European Championship in 2016, a trophy he says he values as much as a World Cup, and produced moments on a football pitch that an entire generation of kids will spend years trying to copy. Wanting to send off a player like that with dignity isn't wrong. You can even understand a manager's reluctance to be the one who benches a legend. But that reverence is exactly the trap. A national team's job is to win matches, not to curate a farewell tour. Once the goals stop coming against real competition, the kindest and smartest move Martinez could have made was the one thing he couldn't force himself to do. So it ends this way. Ronaldo walked off the pitch visibly shaken, the World Cup he'd chased for more than 20 years gone for good, saying only that he was sad to be leaving the tournament like this. He may go down as the greatest player to never lift the trophy. Martinez, too, fell on his sword, announcing his resignation, saying there was no reason to continue if he couldn't deliver the one thing he'd been brought in for. By the time the next major tournament comes around, Ronaldo will be 43. There is no next World Cup for him. This was the final chapter, and instead of a hero walking off with a ball at his feet, we got a legend reduced to 19 touches, a spectator at his own goodbye, because everyone around him cared more about protecting the name on the shirt than the team wearing it. The real tragedy isn't the loss. It's that it never had to end this way. Where does this leave Ronaldo in your rankings now that his World Cup story is truly closed? Top 5 all-time, or overrated by the hype? Drop your take below, and subscribe for the quarterfinal breakdown without the nostalgia filter.